Welcome back into the 143. We're coming at you live with episode 64.
That's right, and we have a baseball episode for you.
We realized we didn't give you enough baseball last baseball season.
Yes,
we're
the
doing
MLB
more.
Has opened up as of last Thursday.
We've only seen 4 or 5 games per team so far, but
there is
love
a
to
lot
see
to
it back.
unpack.
Love to see that it's back though. I missed baseball. I know Nick missed baseball, and it's just good to see that baseball is in fact back. And I think the biggest takeaway from the first 4 or 5 games of the season is that the Rangers are in first in the division, and it should stay that way all season, is my prediction.
I mean, we started out really hot out of the gate, swept the Phillies. How about that?
How about them?
Offense
Rangers?
showed up and just absolutely destroyed them the first 2 games, but then the third game wasn't really there, but we still got the job done.
Martin Perez is our guy.
Against the National League defending champions.
But more to come about baseball here in a second. Let us start with the stat of the week brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. The stat is actually about the men's national championship for March Madness that happened this Monday. And congratulations to the University of Connecticut, or UConn, as most people refer to them as. They won. They took the dub. They were just blowing out teams left and right this tournament. Nobody really came close to beating them, and just caught everyone by surprise. In fact, the stat is that only out of 20 million brackets on ESPN Tournament Challenge, only 2.4% had UConn winning it all. So that's impressive. UConn they're just like that.
I mean, it was a very interesting year for March Madness.
Very interesting. I mean, the
lots
Final
of ones were out of the tournament extremely early. And
UConn was the highest seed as a 4 seed.
no one even predicted I don't think anyone had any clue that any of this was going to happen. I mean, I did not have UConn.
I mean, there were a couple people that had them, but very, very few people. I mean, the Final Four itself was just crazy. Well, I mean, for me, once we got to the Elite Eight, I was pretty much done. So my brackets were.
I mean, I was out of it. I had Kansas, and they, did not make it very far.
I just wasn't too happy with my picks this season either. But congrats to UConn and to the 2.4% of people who had them winning.
They must be on top of the world right now. But
they sure are feeling it.
Enough of the basketball. Okay, we're going to touch on for your player of the week, we're going to touch on a subject that's not been touched on once this season.
So not NASCAR.
But it needs to be brought up because it's a huge milestone for this individual. Your player of the week is Jason Robertson, the left wing for the Dallas Stars. So he achieved the 100-point mark a couple of days ago, and he was the first Dallas Star in history to do it. So he has the most points in a single season.
That is not goals.
What?
That is not goals. That is points?
Yes.
Okay. So what are points?
So points, I'm glad you asked that, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
So points, that is a combination of your goals as well as your assists. So let's do some math here. If you have 30 goals and 30 assists, that would mean you have 60
I was going to
points.
answer. Okay.
There you go. And speaking of the Stars, on Monday night, they beat the Nashville Predators 5-1, clinching them a spot in this year's playoffs.
Here we go, Dallas.
That's probably our best playoff contender as a Dallas fan.
Let me tell
Rangers
you, Nick,
are a no-go. Dallas or the Cowboys were eh.
The Mavs have
Mavericks
dropped out
are
of the playoff race. It is very hard in the NBA to not be in the playoffs because 10 teams from each conference make it in. And the Mavs have gone 1-6 in their last 7 games.
I mean, they've
just dropped out.
They've gotten worse since the addition of Kyrie.
Kyrie is the problem. Get him out of there.
I mean, I don't think he's going to be here after this season.
He's not going to want to stay. He's done. But you know what? We don't want him to stay. So
probably we'll move on to L.A.
Probably, which is where he wanted to be in the first place. Mark Cuban, I don't know why you gave up the farm for Kyrie Irving, but that's a different topic for a different time. But congrats to the Stars, keeping us Dallas fans happy in at least one sport.
Absolutely. They've been kind of under the radar as of the recent because NHL does not get a lot of recognition, but we are staying strong, and we are getting hot as we near the playoffs.
Getting hot at the right time. It's just what we like.
So let's just dive right in
Let's do it.
to the MLB. So we already talked about the Rangers, right? They swept the Phillies. They're in the midst of a series with the Orioles right now. Dropped game 1, unfortunately, but we're recording on Tuesday, so tonight is the debut of Andrew Heaney, who is the pitcher that we got from the Dodgers. So excited to see that. Hopefully he can bring it for us tonight.
A lot of new talent in the pitching rotation, as we've seen DeGrom, Evaldi pitch, and we're about to see our new guy tonight. So we're just excited for the Rangers this season. Obviously, it's very early in the season. Nick and I will not be making any predictions.
I mean, obviously, we've already spoken extremely high of them, but it's not even it's not even a
162 game
fraction
season
of into the season. Yeah, we still have a long way to go.
We just love baseball, so we're here to talk about it, and we're just here to talk about some things that we saw in Week 1 that just to look at. I mean, who doesn't love Aaron Judge starting the season off with a home run? Who doesn't love that? That was pure baseball magic.
People
right
were
there.
questioning, is he going to be the same? Is the magic over? And obviously, it was not, because it doesn't get any better than that.
Center homer.
Absolutely, and we gotta love that the Astros are starting off. They're 2-3 as of
I'd
right
love to
now.
see it. I love to
third
see
in the AL West, and the Angels, they came out swinging too. Like they're second.
They started hot,
just behind us. We saw when they were playing. Who was at Oakland? Hunter Renfroe over in right field made that catch literally behind his head. He wasn't even looking.
Opening day provided us with some nice gems.
Yes.
For the remainder of the season, obviously, baseball is the sport that opening day and opening week. It's like, oh yes, baseball's back, and then you hit summer and it loses a lot of its viewership because there's just so many games, so much to keep up with. Obviously, Nick and I keep up with it all, but you can't expect everyone in America to do the same thing. And so we thought right now let's just talk about it while it's really popular at the moment. But one of the rising stars in the game, a lot of people are saying Adley Rutschman started opening day, went 5 for 5, started with a bomb. He was the number 1 pick in the draft a few years ago. Had his first game last season. This season, he's looking like he picked up right where he left off.
Absolutely,
looking like a good pick for the Orioles.
He was super good last year, and then, like Joseph said, he started off with a bang. And then another thing is stolen bases. The percentage went up. There were actually 21 stolen bases on opening day. So that was last Thursday, and that's the most on opening day since 1907.
Oh, man.
But we're seeing more guys swipe bags because of the new pickoff rule, and as well as the bases being a little bit bigger. So that is adding a little bit more excitement to the game.
So the pickoff rule is the pitcher can only try to attempt twice.
Yes.
The third time it's a ball, no balk.
Yeah, and so what guys are doing is after that second, they can get a really, really, early jump because, the pitcher can't throw back because you can't do that anymore. And also, Mr. Joey Gallo is starting off hot. He's already got 3 home runs, and everyone was kind of looking his way because he has been
the biggest advocate,
the biggest victim of the shift. And since that has been exonerated from the league, everyone's looking to him to see if his production rate will go up or if he is just bad at baseball. And I'm excited to see that because
I think he's a good hitter. I think he is. He just always pulls.
I can root for Joey Gallo because he was a Ranger for so long.
Oh, yes.
And he had a great career with us. Yes. So I will be watching that intently.
So the biggest rule changes we are seeing take place, and we're seeing that it has affected the game. Like what Nick said with Joey Gallo, they erased the shift, which is where they stack all the players on one side of the field because that's where the player normally hits. So now everybody kind of has to stay in their position. Joey Gallo's having more success there as well as a lot of other guys. We're seeing stolen bases increase because the bases are bigger, and now once the guy tries to pick you off twice, you can pretty much take a huge lead and just go. And so those two are big. And then the third big change that we're seeing is the implementation. I messed that word up. They have the pitch clock now, which is what we talked about earlier. And that is to help the game speed up, to not take as long in between pitches. The batters doing their thing with their batting gloves and the pitchers, nodding, shaking their head, just having a good time up there on the mound. Like now you have 14 seconds, I think.
Yes.
To pitch, and the batter the same way. You got to get ready to hit. But games have been shaved off 25 minutes a game. So you're taking games, from 3.5 hours to 3 now, which is what they were wanting to do. And so that's good for the game as well. I think all the rule changes that we've seen so far in this first week of games have been really good for the game.
Two things from what you said. So we've already seen teams get around the shift a little bit defensively. So what we've seen is the Red Sox a few times is what they have done is they've taken their left fielder and moved him over into super shallow right. So that was essentially, instead of shifting the infield over, because you can't do that anymore, they're just pulling the guy from left field to play essentially that rover position. But the thing is that obviously leaves a humongous gap in left field. So if you can just bloop one over the third baseman, I mean,
it's a triple.
Depending on how fast you are, you might even get all the way around. If it just rolls to the wall.
This is the thing. In baseball, if you have made it through single A, double A, and triple A, and you are now in the pros, you are able to hit oppo. You cannot make college baseball
and the
without
thing with
being able to
left
hit
field
oppo.
being that open is it's not like you have to rip an absolute laser to left field. You just got to get it, into the grass in left field, and you've got an easy extra base hit.
And that's the thing. Even when the shift was allowed, is that Joey Gallo was doing all this complaining. Like, dude, to get around the shift, just learn how to hit it to
left field. Yeah, exactly.
When you're a major leaguer, you're getting paid millions of dollars to play this game. You should be able to put in some effort to try new things that will help you see. But no, instead he fought for the changing of the rule, which he got. I mean, congrats to him.
But I mean, I'm bringing that up to say that people are already finding a way to have a quote-unquote shift.
Still need to figure out how to hit.
Yeah, because there is still a guy right where you're hitting it.
They're always going to find a way around it. The shift has been a part of baseball for as long as baseball has been around. You didn't think the coaches and the players were going to let that go that easily. Obviously, most of the players and coaches don't like the rule changes because it's the way they've always played the game. Mm-hmm. Even though the fans like it, like the pitch clock, it cuts down on time. But the pitchers and the batters don't like it because you have a routine. This is how you've always done it. It's very traditional.
So speaking of that, so I said two things. That was the second thing is the pitch clock and obviously the hitter's clock. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm kind of in between. I liked it at first. Now I'm not so sure. So I am in the middle. I like that it's cutting down on time because I think
it needed it.
Yes, because also the other thing is at the end of the day, the MLB is a business. So they have to look at it as how can we make more money? And making more money,
get viewers,
making it more exciting, and cutting down game time because people don't want to watch that. And my feeling on the pitch clock is that I liked that pitchers and hitters had routines, like let's say you get jammed up on a fastball, you got your hands just absolutely get rattled, you smack one off the handle. And so you want to take a second or two outside the box and just kind of take a deep breath, just clear your thoughts and then get back in. But with the hitter's clock, that does not allow you to do that. You can't really take a moment to yourself. You just have to. Most hitters aren't even getting out of the box in between pitches. They're having to stay there. And I kind of liked seeing guys in their routine,
I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, baseball up until last season, this season, it's been dying. And I feel like you got to do whatever you can to get that viewership back up.
See, another thing is from where I'm sitting, it doesn't matter to me if views are going up and down because I don't care. I'm going to watch it no matter what they do.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're at MLB HQ or whatever, you have to think about increasing
You put it in perspective from the NBA or the NFL. These are fast-paced games. There's action happening all the time. Even the NFL, it's play after play, and something big could happen at any point. The MLB, it's not really as much plays as it is pitches, and nobody wants to just sit there and watch an at-bat take 3 minutes long for like 3 pitches. And obviously, like, people that appreciate the sport, that have played the sport, like all this stuff, they want to keep it the same, and they would like to see the traditions keep going. But I think as a business, as you're trying to keep up with the NBA and the NFL, their views are skyrocketing. I mean, they're obviously, the NFL knows how to do business. The NFL, it's more and more popular every year. The NBA this year kind of struggled, but before then has been rising. You just got to keep up with the fast-paced sports, because baseball is not a fast-paced sport, which everybody should know. And, like, that's not something, going to a baseball game, you should not be expecting it to be fast. But I think that they do needed to increase it a little bit more. I think that's the only thing you really could have done there, was implement the pitch clock.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree with everything that you're saying. It's just that, I don't know. I'm in the middle, so I don't absolutely hate it, but I'm not sure if I love it.
It is only the first week, though. We are excited to see how the season
could change. Absolutely.
Just plays out. I mean, right now, all the teams, they've only played 4 or 5 games. You really can't judge much based off of what we've seen. But when we look at that AL standings in the AL West,
you'll love to see. It's pretty nice to see what we have right now.
It has been a while.
We just hope that the success can be consistent.
The key to being a successful baseball team is not winning every game. Obviously, that would be nice, but you can't do that with 162 games. Baseball is played in series. The key is to win every series. So if you can win 2 out of 3 games every time, you'll be fine. You'll make playoffs. I mean, that's well over 100 wins. Obviously, teams struggle to do that. But if you can just win series, that's what you have to focus on, and that's what hopefully the Rangers can do, is win a lot of series.
I think the Rangers have already showed that we have an extremely
potent offense.
I was going to say powerful offense, and that we have an extremely good defense as well. Because you look at our last game against the Phillies, we won 2-1. So that was more of the defensive showcase. And even when we lost to the Orioles, we only lost 2-0. So that was a defensive showcase again. But unfortunately, in both of those scenarios, even though we won the first one that I mentioned, there was really no offense there. But we saw what the offense could do in the first 2 games against the Phillies. So if we bring that offense and that defense consistently to each series, I think that we will be in a good spot in the long run.
We're excited. We're here for it, and it should be a good season of baseball, hopefully.
Just hoping that the Rangers can make it to October.
That would be nice, because it's been a while.
It has been a while.
It's been 6 years.
Well, here's where we like to end our shows on Under Review. I've brought you a baseball quote from the great Mike Trout. He says, "Before you can achieve it, you must believe in yourself." That's the
true.
Truth.
That is the truth. That's one of the all-time greats right there.
Absolutely.
So listen to him. Thank y'all for tuning in this week. Keep watching that baseball, and we will see you next week with another episode of Under Review.